Hey, how's it going everyone? Grasshopper here, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be a hero overview or guide on the brand new hero Brigitte. Let's just dive right into it. Brigitte is a support hero. She has low power, 200 health, and 50 armor. She's a low mobility hero, and then according to the Overwatch website, she's a 1-star hero, which means she is low difficulty to use. Let's move on to Brigitte's weapons. She only has one weapon, and that's the rocket flail. Brigitte's flail is a smaller version of Reinhardt's hammer with less damage and more range. It has a range of 6 meters and will hit up to 3 enemies, dealing 35 damage per swing to each enemy, with a swing taking 0.6 seconds. So her DPS with the flail is about 60. Even though this weapon feels similar to Reinhardt's, don't use it too aggressively, as Brigitte has less health, does less damage, and can only hit up to 3 targets. Brigitte does need to do damage to activate her passive heals, which is Inspire, but I'll get to that a little later on. Brigitte's other weapon, which isn't really a weapon, it's her barrier shield. This is used with right click or left trigger on a console. Again, like Reinhardt, Brigitte has a barrier shield, but it only protects herself and it has less HP. The shield covers Brigitte's front, but she is vulnerable from the sides. The shield has 600 health and heals at 100 HP per second after being down for 2 seconds. When active, Brigitte moves slower like Reinhardt, and once the shield breaks, it cools down in 3 seconds. The new cool thing about her shield is that you can shield bash enemies to stun them, which is an ability I'll talk about later on as well. So these are Brigitte's abilities on your screen now. Her ultimate is Rally. This is where Brigitte provides armor to herself and nearby allies for a short time, and she moves faster. This ultimate lasts 10 seconds and has an area effect of 8 meters. Brigitte and her allies in the area will gain 30 armor per second, up to 150 armor. This armor will not disappear after her ultimate ends, but it can be destroyed by enemies. The best use for this ultimate is at the beginning of a fight, and especially when pushing through a choke. Or you can use this when an enemy team is pushing in if you're defending. You can use the ultimate around your teammates, wait about 3 or 4 seconds so your team can get the 150 armor, then you rush into the enemy team or objective. If you or your allies lose the armor while Brigitte's ultimate is still going, you can replenish it, since the ultimate gives 30 armor per second within 8 meters of Brigitte. Brigitte's first ability is Repair Pack. This is where she burst heals an ally with this ability. It will heal 150 health, or if the ally is at max health, this Repair Pack will give them 75 armor. For example, if you use this on a Genji with 100 HP, he will be fully healed to 200 HP and he will gain 50 armor until the Repair Pack ability cools down. So the armor gained from this ability will disappear after 5 seconds unless it's destroyed by enemies. You can throw this Repair Pack up to 30 meters away, but it will hit the teammate within 1 second. This ability cools down in 6 seconds, and you want to use Repair Pack on low health enemies that can't be healed by your supports, like flankers, or use it on the healers themselves. If an ally is about to take a lot of damage or is running into the enemy team to use their ult, then you should give them a Repair Pack. This ability is also useful at healing your main tank on the front lines when the healers can't get to them or are busy with something else, so make sure to look out for that when you and your tank are brawling on the front lines. Brigitte's next ability is Whip Shot, and this is where Brigitte throws her flail out to damage and knock back an enemy. Imagine Roadhog's hook without the stun and pull. Instead, it damages and knocks back. The range is 20 meters, just like Hog's hook, and it cools down in 4 seconds. The damage of a Whip Shot is 70, and it will knock back an enemy about 5 to 10 meters unless they're in the air, which will make the enemy move even more backwards or whichever direction you hit them. This ability counters a diving Winston, Diva, or Genji by pushing them away from where they want to land. Since this ability does damage, it's perfect for starting Brigitte's healing from her passive Inspire from range. Some combos with Whip Shot can kill low health heroes, especially Tracer. You can shield bash an enemy, then hit them with the flail once or twice before whip shotting them, which will usually kill them. Brigitte's next ability is Shield Bash. This can only be used when she has her barrier up. Brigitte dashes forward with her shield up to stun an enemy. This ability is so good, so you need to use it at correct times and almost as much as possible. The range is 6 meters and it will do 50 damage with a 1 second stun. There is a little knockback, but the stun is the most important part. Shield Bash cools down in 5 seconds. This ability can stun and cancel ultimates and abilities that can change the team fight. You can stun a charging Reinhardt, or when he has his shield up, you can stun him so your own Reinhardt can hit an Earth Shatter on the enemy team. You can't stun a Doomfist using Rocket Punch, but you can stun a Genji deflecting. You want to save Shield Bash to stop ultimates or abilities like Moira's ult, Reaper's ult, Roadhog's ult, Roadhog's hook, or his healing ability, as well as other similar abilities. Another useful thing with this ability is the slight movement speed boost, which can help you get back to a fight, or you can shield bash a low wall or object, which will boost Brigitte up into the air a little bit. So for example, if you shield bash and jump at the same time when you hit a payload, that thing will shoot you up in the air and you can get onto high ground, but only like, imagine like a second floor, you only can go up that high. Brigitte's next ability is her passive ability, Inspire. This is Brigitte's healing ability. When Brigitte does damage to enemies, herself and all allies within range are healed over time. Inspire heals 16 HP per second over 5 seconds in a 20-meter radius, but it will only heal allies if they are in range at the time this passive starts. So right when you do damage, everyone within 20 meters will get healed for 16 health per second over 5 seconds, which is 80 health after the 5 seconds. Teammates will not be healed if they walk into the range after the passive begins, and allies behind enemy barriers will not be healed. The rate of healing will not stack when you do more damage, but the duration will be reset each time instead. So whenever you do the last bit of damage, 5 more seconds of that healing and then that's it. But as soon as you do damage again, it's 5 more seconds. Basically, Brigitte can do a small amount of healing over time while she is brawling with the enemy team, but it's not enough to keep your teammates alive for long, so you'll probably need 2 healers on your team as well. Let's move on to Brigitte's counters. Brigitte counters dive comp and flankers because she likes to fight up close. So she counters Genji, Tracer, Lucio, Zenyatta, Zarya, D.Va, Winston, and sometimes Sombra depending on if Brigitte doesn't get hacked. Brigitte is weak to ranged heroes and poke comps, which are heroes Pharah, Doomfist, Soldier 76, Widowmaker, Hanzo, McCree, Junkrat, and Orisa. Let's move on to the how to use Brigitte. Brigitte is a hero that has to fight up close to get any value and needs a good team comp to work with her, so you'll need to pick heroes that combo with her. Don't use her as a main tank or main healer, but use her like an off tank with heals. She doesn't work in a dive comp because she has to brawl on the ground and with her team usually. You want to use her with an anti-dive comp or a multi-tank comp. Brigitte works very well with Reinhardt and Lucio because Reinhardt has its own shield and they synergize together very well, and then Lucio can speed boost her around so she can do more damage with her flail. You want to fight in between your supports and your tanks so you can heal everyone with Inspire and shield bash any enemies that push in. You want to do damage as much as possible to keep up the healing from Inspire, and being in the middle of your team will allow everyone to be healed by it. Use your barrier to block incoming damage and get close to enemies so you can shield bash them. Save shield bash to stop certain enemy abilities or ultimates and tell your team to follow up with damage on the stunned enemy. You want to protect your supports from flankers with shield bash or whip shot, or just throw a repair pack on them. Whip shot is perfect for knocking back enemies that are diving in or close to an edge, so look out for that. Throw a repair kit on any teammate that is being focused and taking a lot of damage, or give it to your own team's flanker so they have 75 armor to push in with. Use Brigitte's ultimate to make a push or defend against an enemy push, but always pop it a few seconds early and near teammates so the armor has time to build up. Even if this armor is destroyed, it will come back as long as the ult is active. As long as you have a good team comp to protect you and you can brawl up close to do healing, Brigitte can be really strong, otherwise she may seem pretty weak. Don't use her on maps with a lot of open space or long ranges because she'll be too easy to counter. Brigitte has the best stun in the game, but it comes at the cost of range and mobility. She can be effective on offense and defense, and I recommend everyone try her out to get a feel for how she plays. You'll always need a main tank and a main healer, preferably 2 other healers, but if your team can always stick together, then you'll only need a main healer and Brigitte. It will be interesting to see how Brigitte is used in competitive play starting next season, but I think she is already balanced. The only thing I could see being nerfed is the shield bash and its cooldown. In conclusion, Brigitte is an amazing hero that functions as an off-tank / healer with some crowd control mechanics to counter dive comp. Just don't use her against a range comp or you will get shut down. And that's it guys, that's the overview on Brigitte. I hope you all enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something from it. As always guys, I hope you all have a good day and goodbye.